We have some sun. It's the end of February. That the beauty of having a south-facing garden. But when the sun's out, it's pretty warm. So I've just come to have a little look at the bulb table, see how things are doing at the end of February. Then we can see the crocuses are just starting to open. Um, I haven't gone too crazy this year with the bulb table, which is quite good. Because usually I've got far too many pots and I can't get them all on the table. So I've got a few spare ones on the floor dotted around. And just thought I'd do a quick update for end of February. So obviously I've got some tomatoes. Jeez, got tomatoes on the brain. I've just bought some tomato seeds. Um, Daffodils coming up in the borders. That seems to have worked this year. I didn't really have any luck previously with getting daffodils to grow in the borders. As you can see, the ground gets very wet. I had to dig that trench out. I've got a trench all the way around the lawn basically, but it's almost like a water runoff. It's very thick clay soil right underneath, and I've been working on the surface for the last 10 years to make it something that I can kind of dig and plant into and develop. But as you can see, when it does rain, we've had some downpours of rain, there's a lot of water sits on the soil, so that's been helping massively to keep a lot of my perennials alive. But it does mean I've got to think twice about what I can put in, and daffodils, for example, or bulbs never work. So here under this flowering cherry tree, which has been in here quite a long time, it's doing amazing. The ground is pretty firm, so I put a load of spare daffodil bulbs in there last year after they'd finished flowering to see what would happen, and it looked like it's worked. So there's some coming up over there, and there's one just coming to flower there, and there's loads more leaves under there. So that's worked. So I'm pretty happy about that. Another area that does work pretty well is just here in front of the greenhouse. I'll zoom out actually because it's a bit hard to see. This area here, this is a lot drier, and half of it is shallow. So the first half, there's like a concrete base underneath, about a foot down, and then obviously you've got as it spreads up the garden, it gets wetter and wetter and wetter. But yeah, that's fine. I've got a couple of bulbs coming up there, and then obviously over here is just plants that have been growing on in the greenhouse, like foxgloves, and these was what all my dahlias were in, all these containers previously. So I've topped them up with daffodils, and got some alliums coming up there as well. So yeah, lots going on. Loads of alliums in here. Lots of alliums, and a few tete-a-tetes have found their way into here as well, which don't really need to be in there, so I can lift them out at some point. But the put a lot of old tulip bulbs in here, a lot of old tulip bulbs, and I can see they've come through. So I'm going to see what happens. My thinking is that the old tulip bulbs will be short. Same for here and there, because previously there was no tulips in here last year, just alliums, and it looked pretty bare. So I've put all the old bulbs into here, refreshed the pots that have tulip bulbs in, like them two planters there, with new bulbs. I've got some planters in the front garden as well with tulips in, which are all new bulbs. But then all the old bulbs after the first year, I'm putting them into the troughs, and I'm going to see if I can get an abundance of tulips in all three of these troughs. But they'll just be shorter. That's my thinking. Might be wrong. We'll see. And then obviously all these pots here have dahlias in, and I've mulched them up, put daffodils in there as well, and then I'm going to see what happens this year for them. See whether they'll come up, big daffodils all over, disappear off, get towards summer, dahlias come back up. Then I can lift them up and stick them in the borders. On that back line, I've got a lot of roses in there, and I'm hoping this year they work really well, because last year I moved a lot of them into place when I redid it, so it was mixed success. Since then, I put more in, and I'm hoping to have a really good rose belt at the back. we'll see what happens there. And obviously I've got more dahlias around there, around the backing pots, but I just can't get around it at the moment while it's so wet. So yeah, so far I'm pretty happy. It's a bit windy today, hence why I've got the cowl there. People always ask me when they come round, what's that? What's that for? It's just an old roof cowl that I had lying around. I think my uncle gave me that, and I just use it as a wind, just as a wind sort of chime. It works pretty well. Bit interesting out the window. So yeah, there's not much else I can kind of show or do now. In the greenhouse, obviously, I've got all my seeds ready to go. Oh, foxgloves. Foxgloves. So basically, people always ask me this, friends and family who also do gardening, um, why are they in pots? Because they should be in the ground. You put them in at the end of the season after growing them on. They'll survive through the winter and they'll come back. Not in here. Too wet. Doesn't work. Every time I've tried it, they all die. And I have to collect the seeds, sow them, plant them, and again they'll die. So in the front garden, which is north facing, really gritty sandy soil, works perfectly fine. That's what's happening. And some of them will go in the front, and I'm working on that at the moment, which I'll do in another video. But for the back, these are going to be grown in pots and put in as annuals, and then lift them back up again, put them back into pots, and repeat the process. Because if I don't do that, they'll just never survive. They'll never self-seed. They'll never come back. So yeah, and the greenhouse, it's just been a process of tidying. As you can see, it's full of tools and junk and bags and composts, birdseed. That's my seed box. Just been topping up the tomatoes, cucumbers, peas, lettuce. But yeah, got my shallots in. They've been in since end of Christmas. And they're in that black tray over there. I grow them in the tray actually because they do pretty well. So yeah, there's my end of February video diary. It's all looking good. I'm quite pleased. I'm looking forward to watching this back in a month or so time to see what difference is, what it looks like. Because that is obviously the full purpose of these videos. So I stopped forgetting what I've done because, like many other people, I always forget where things are.